Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're flying the CubCrafters XCub on floats. Yeah, instead of having a route, we're just gonna start, and we're gonna fly around and practice the Seaplane today. So we're gonna start in Kodiak, Alaska. We're gonna start at the Kodiak downtown airport, taxi over to Lily Lake, which is the Seaplane base, and we're just gonna fly around and get some practice with the XCub on floats. Get some water taxiing, some water takeoffs, some water landings. Maybe we'll fly around up to some of the nearby islands or other areas of Kodiak. I don't know how long it'll be. I don't know where exactly we'll go, but climb aboard and let's go flying. I was thinking of a route to do for the Seaplane today, and I said, you know, I think I'm just going to do something I haven't really done much of, and that's just take off and fly around and just practice landing. Usually have a whole route planned out and kind of research ahead and everything, but we're kind of going to go impromptu today. Alright, here we are on the ground at Kodiak. Downtown airport, of course, right here with the flashing lights. Wow, it just shifted, but over where the flashing lights were, it's Kodiak's main airport. But here we are loaded in. Let me adjust. I don't know why it always starts with... always has a rear passenger in, and I usually just try to zero that out. And you can feel the plane tip a little bit when you change the weight shift. I think we'll go half fuel. Consumption and carbon emission. Alright, fuel is good. Alright, so here we are at Kodiak. Again, this is the downtown airport. So we're in the XCub on floats, but these are amphibious floats. So what that means we can do is taxi around, move around on the land, and not just roam around on the wheels until we decide to get onto the water. Altitude 1. Alright, let's go into the cockpit, get the plane configured. So the first thing is battery on. Strobe lights on. Systems initializing. We're gonna go mixture full rich. Fuel pump on. Throttle forward. We'll shut that off, close the throttle, and then just bump it a tiny bit forward. Clear left. Person standing far enough back. Person standing by the wing. Oh, what? It's just slid across the ground. Alright. Magneto's on. Clear left, clear right. And we're ready to start the engine. Let's just make sure our parking brake is set. Water rotors should be up. It is. Okay. Clear! Just gonna need to hold that a little bit longer. That's good there. Alright, before we go and taxi on the water and everything, we're gonna do a run-up. So we're gonna push the power up to 2... Oh, you know what, actually? Because the RPM switch starts all the way back, we're gonna push that full forward. And we're gonna set for 2000 RPM. It's good right about there. Alright, first things we're gonna do, check the magnetos. One off, should have a drop of 40. That's good. Back on. Now we'll check the other one. Good. Back on. Good. Our engine instruments are all in the green. No warnings, errors, cautions, anything like that. Alternator on, fuel pump, avionics, all lights. And let's just check, make sure our electrical systems are good. That looks good. Alright, so we can turn the landing light back off. Those say, fuel pump says. We're going to cycle the prop twice. Going to pull back this blue lever. Look for about a drop down to 1800. It didn't drop as much as I thought it would, but okay, back forward. There is a response, which is good. You want to make sure that the RPMs do slow down. There we go. Good. Back forward. Back. That looks good. Let's go power idle. And it should idle somewhere around 600 RPMs. Yep, oil pressure's in the yellow. And that's because this engine's moving slow, so we're going to bump it back to 1,000. And it should come back up into the green. And RPMs tend to spike like that for whatever reason. Oil pressure's back in the green, so that is all functioning correctly. Switches are on, everything looks good. Alright, we're gonna go ahead, release the parking brake, and taxi out over to the water. Clear right. Person still standing in the way to the left, but they can move. And we have a little bit less maneuverability than normal. When we only have these wheels on floats, because you don't have nose wheel steering, which makes it a little bit tougher to turn. Look at the lake, it slopes uphill. What? Something's definitely not right about that. Whatever. We can still use it. Alright, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring up our little flight displayer. Even though we're not going to really have a destination, I guess I could put... Let me look up the identifier. Fine with that there. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the flight displayer on. Okay. So, of course, because the departure and arrival airport are the same, we're not going to have ETA, and you're also not going to see the red bar up across the top of the screen, but you'll still be able to see the flight information such as the altitude, heading, ground speed, that stuff. And also our landing rate, which I'm most particularly interested to see how I do on the landings, because the last one's a couple days, or actually yesterday. Yeah, that was kind of rough, so that's why I want to do some practice. Alright, let's get the weather over at Kodiak main airport. 10 miles visibility, few clouds, 9,000, only 14 degrees outside. Just pleasant weather, it's sunny. 30.05, we'll need to enter that here. And let's just check. That's showing an altitude of 130 feet, and Kodiak Municipal showing 139, and that's probably at the high point of the airport. Which will be back up that way, so we should be good. Release the parking brake. Oil pressure is just a tiny bit low again, because our RPMs are sitting low. Let's go ahead and turn the landing light on. And we're going to taxi right out onto the water. So we get into the water here. Should drop down. We're going to raise the gear, and now we should be entirely on floats. We are. Very nice. We're going to raise or lower the water rudders. It'll make it a little easier for us to steer. Something's up when you're sailing up the water. That's pretty though. Landing rate -6, really? This counts as landings? I'll put some power and we're going to try to get what's called on the step. So if you're looking here, kind of see how the floats sink a little bit more deep. I'm going to hold some back power. Back a little bit, but we're starting to skip a tiny bit here. What just happened? You crashed into the water? How does that happen? I would like an explanation on that. You crashed into the water and I'm in Seaplane. Alright, well, we're gonna go ahead and initialize and just taxi back over. I'm really baffled as to why that would do that. Prop full forward. Water in Alaska is tough as snow. Strobe light on. There shouldn't be any people this time. Is our weight and balance off again? Yeah. Of course, we have to redo all that. Alright. Release the parking brake and taxi back over to the water. We'll try this again. I don't understand that unless it's because it got choppy or something, or what? Alright, slow down, nice, easy, gentle taxi over onto the water. Raise the gear, now we're on our floats. Now we get to go uphill. So it kind of keeps getting choppy like that. Oh, we're supposed to be on the step. Landing rate minus 13. Oh, the water drops back off over here. This is so weird. I think these seaplanes could definitely use a little bit better handling on water. And I have no clue why it would have given me an error like that. You crashed into the water. I was taxiing on the water. Alright. Landing light on. For water takeoffs, you're going to set the flaps to second setting, which we've done. Usually on land, you'll set them to the first setting, or you can leave them up. But alright. We're going to do a nice, easy power forward. Try to get on the step. And on the step is when you're basically planing. Is when your floats are not sitting deep in the water. We're just gonna hold some. And it's still a little bit choppy, but it shouldn't be like that. Alright, full power forward. Now we're gonna hold the control stick back. We're airborne. There we go. Engine instruments are good. We're a little slow. Our airspeed is alive. We're going to bring the flaps up to 1. That'll let us accelerate a little more, continuing to climb out. There's another lake. We probably shouldn't try to land on it. And there's the Kodiak downtown airport. There's some shops. And we've accelerated actually pretty fast here. Let's go full flaps, because we're not really climbing out. And maybe we'll just fly a standard pattern. So if we fly back this way, here we go. This is the lake we took off from. And if you look over here, the flashing lights, that is Kodiak's main airport. And we'll fly this pattern at about 100 or 940 or so, about 800 feet above the ground. We're going to pull back on the power. It's now a nice kind of 100 knots or so in cruise. And maybe we'll try to come back down on the water. Alright, well there's our landing area, so what we're going to do here is we're going to pull the power out and slow down. Once we get below 100, we can drop the first set of flaps. There we go. Let's take the power out a little bit more. Our mixture stays full rich. Our lights stay on, we don't touch the prop. We are slow enough to where we can drop second notch of flaps. And if we look back, we can go ahead and turn over. And we'll give another turn, add a little bit of power, so we don't want to get too slow. But there's the lake. Let's take some power out because we're a little bit fast. And we gotta get slowed down. We can go full flaps below 75. There's a nice, what is that, 5 knots? Or is that more, or does it say 9? It's kind of tough to see from here. 9 or 10 knot headwind. Gonna add a little bit of power because we're a little bit low. Right, we clear the trees, yep. And nice and easy back down on the water. Take the power out. Just gentle. Minus 132. Are we skipping a little bit? Yeah, we are. We gotta go full power. Let's go around. Flaps up to 2 immediately. We have positive rate. Flaps up to 1. Flaps all the way up. And what we're going to do now is just circle right back around and try that again. Looks like it's starting to cloud over a little more here. Just climb out right about 64, 65 knots. 800 feet. Let's go ahead and turn. A little less steep there. And we'll just keep kind of circling around until we roll back out. Now we'd normally fly straight on what is called the crosswind and base for a little bit, but we just do a full 180. Alright, we're level off about 940. I don't know exactly what the traffic pattern altitude is, and what that means is what altitude we're at right now is defined. It's generally 800 or 1,000 feet above where you're going. Alright, there's the lake. And we're actually still climbing. We need to pull back on the power a little bit here. Alright, we are a beam touchdown point. Let's take the power out completely. First notch of flaps. Now let's try this again. Second notch of flaps. Now we're going to add some power back in because we don't want to get too slow on the turn. Let the nose come down just a little bit here. We'll go ahead and turn. Nice tight 30-degree turn. Usually should do. There's the lake. And we're looking pretty good. Let's get slowed back down. We can go full flaps once we get below about 75. Flaps are all the way down. We're going to get nice and slow here. We're going to leave the power out. We can add power in if we need to. This is also a little bit tougher because we have to fly over the trees here, yeah, so we're a little bit slow. It's a little bit gusty. Not bad. But it puts you just over these treetops right here. Alright, take the power out. Want to control our descent a little bit more. Nice and easy down. 198, that's high. Yeah, we bounced. Full power. Flaps up to 2 immediately. Flaps up to 1. Alright, we're struggling to climb out there. Flaps full up. fall up? That doesn't make sense. All the way up, okay. I don't want to circle back around and try from the other side just because the tailwinds will make that tougher. I wonder if it's just really not a good choice to land that direction because of the configuration. We could try looping around, so what we'll do here is level off. I'm going to pull back about 65% on the power. The plane should accelerate to about 100 knots. We can even come back to 55%. We're going to stay right here about 900 to 1,000 feet. We're going to fly this kind of a teardrop pattern and attempt to come in from the other side. Grab the weather, it looks like it's updated, so... And also, I think my altimeter reset. Kodiak here, 3005. No, weather's still the same. Interesting. Yeah, we do need to reset that. So we're actually closer to about almost 1,100 feet now. Well, and that would help. And we'd fly the altitudes a little bit better. Alright, let's take the power back down about 55%. Now we're going to circle to the left. Just a nice 30-degree bank. And try to maintain about 1,100 feet. How far did I fly? Quite wide, actually, it looks like. So we need to turn back in. I didn't realize I'd gone off course like that. But that's why you check those things. So what we're going to do is come back over here. And we could set the map up. That would help. Yeah, so we're set up on a base leg. Zoom in a little more. Alright, yeah, here we go. To come back up to about 900, we dropped a little bit of altitude there. There they are. Alright, let's take the power out. We can immediately set flaps at flaps to 1. Take the power out, get nice and slow. Let's get down to about 80, 85. Alright. Flaps to 2. Power all the way out. And remember, we're landing on the water, not the runway. So this time we're approaching toward the runway. Flaps all the way down. We're going to add power in this time. Because because we're a little low. We're actually set up really well for an approach to the runway, but we are low if we're coming into the... to the water. So take a little power out. I fly nice, you know, 55, 60 knots right down to the water. And we want to try to minimize our descent rate and just basically glide and let the floats just settle right onto the water. Take some power out. Oh, we also have to contend with the fact that the water actually slopes upward for a short amount of time, which we normally would not have to. We're going to take the power out. Just a nice, gentle glide over here. Now, flying the airplane at about its minimum flyable speed. Yeah, that was high. That one was not great. Alright, here we go. Take that out, put the water rudder down. Are we going to be able to stop here? Yes! There we go. Not bad. The problem was we actually ended up hitting that slope up, and then it kind of made us skip a little bit. But other than that, we were actually set up pretty well. Okay, so let's do something different here. We're going to raise the flaps. Actually, we set them to 2. I raised them to 1. That's what you do for... Put just a little bit of power in. Take a little bit out there. Do we still not have a weather update for Kodiak? That's kind of strange. Alright, let's pull the map up. We're gonna fly over here to Raspberry Island. That's the real name. But basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna take off. We're going to fly up that way, and then we're going to fly over here. And we'll just land somewhere along maybe this inlet here, north side of the island. And this is something that people in Kodiak actually will do, is fly people with a seaplane or a bush plane and take them over to Raspberry Island for like camping, hunting, fishing, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get lined up on the water. I'm going to do a takeoff and we're going to fly over there. Full power. Stick back on the elevator here. We should be getting onto the step. And we're airborne at 40 knots. Need to lower the nose to gain some speed. Flaps up to 1. Continue climbing out. Now we're flying over the runway. Flaps all the way up. Nose will lower a little bit, and we'll start picking up some speed here. We should just fly at about 65 to 70 knots. Full power. And we'll climb up to, I don't know, 2,500 or so. And what we can actually do now, yeah, we'll set the autopilot. Let's go to 2,500. 70 knots. Current heading. Autopilot should be on. And let's just go ahead and set a course. So this is the island we're going to, so what we're going to do is basically turn basically straight west. And yeah, it is getting a little bit misty up over this way. And that's actually a little bit further, so we'll turn maybe 20 to 30 degrees to the right. We gotta take into account the magnetic variation, which is actually kinda high for this area. That should be good. Let's pull back to about 65% on the power. I can confirm a couple things. Flaps should be all the way up. They are. Let's pull back on the prop till we get about 2600. Good enough. And it looks like it is getting a little bit misty here. Still no weather update on here for Kodiak. Why? I wonder if it isn't reporting. Yeah, it's not reporting its update. 2153. No, so that actually is the current weather, but it just isn't picking up the changed conditions over the water. But okay, we'll stay VFR. I mean, we busted that a little bit by flying through that mist, but as long as we could see ahead of us, which we could, if you want to try to pitch the argument that it wasn't really a cloud, it kind of wasn't. Yeah, it's like you see through that, it's mist. You get into a little bit of a gray area in terms of complying with the FAA regulations in that regard. Let's raise the water rudders. Yep, they should be back up. Pretty view down here. Look at that out there. That is pretty. Wow. Trying to get these little hilltops and then the mountain peaks in the back. And yeah, the weather isn't particularly good, but it's decent enough. I mean, it's okay enough to fly VFR. At least over here. So where we're gonna go is probably up through this channel here. So the water may be a bit rough out over here. Maybe pretty decent over here. So we'll try to figure out an area that we can land on. And going that way, we're probably gonna want to go ahead and turn maybe 5 to 10 degrees to the left. So let's actually go ahead and get that set up. Let's set that. Alright, 7 to 8 degrees. Sets us up perfect for that. Flaps are up. We will have to monitor the weather because it actually does look like it's worse on this side. Yeah, I don't know. We may not make it over there. And this is a real-world scenario that pilots face. And weather reports where they're taken off from look good, and there may not be adequate weather reporting for where they're going. And there's really only one way to find out. Try to call, which I don't believe this island is inhabited. And so that's not really a possibility. Your alternative is to try to go, and hopefully the weather's okay enough to cooperate, and if it isn't, you have to make a judgment call. Do you turn back around and go where you came from? Do you try to go somewhere else? Try to fly around it? You can't fly through it unless you're instrument rated. And you probably have the limitation of terrain height and everything like that, so when you're flying via instruments, air traffic control is going to give you a minimum altitude, and you can't really go below that until you pick up the area where you're trying to land and can go visually. Good news is I do see a little bit of a clearing out through there. We can turn the landing light off since we're at cruise. We'll have to turn it back on later. I like that. They have a cup holder on the door. Water rudders. Do not land on water unless gear is fully retracted. It sounds... in a way, it kind of sounds like common sense, but in a way, it kind of doesn't because, well, we have floats and wheels, so why can't we use both? Well, when you're landing, you can't. And the reason for that is, what would happen is if you come in and flare... Let's just lower the gear for a moment. When your gear is extended like that, your wheels will hit the water first, and what that can do is really throw your balance off. And depending, it can cause you to actually flip over like a somersault. So it is a requirement that you put the gear up when you land on the water. You can lower it later. But you cannot actually touch down on the water with your gear up. Or with your gear down. Alright, let's check fuel. ELT's up there. Oh, there's some other controls and stuff there. Look backwards. That's kind of neat. And the backseat pilot has a throttle and prop control that they can use as well. I don't think mixture or anything like that. Alright, well, we're getting pretty close in, so what we're going to do is pull the power back. We're going to disengage the autopilot. And yeah, so we are going to make it, which is good. And we're just gonna start nice and slow. We're gonna land right ahead. I'm gonna ride out on the water here. So we're actually descending. We can take the power out because we're still going kind of fast. Once we get below 100, we'll drop the first notch of flaps. We're just gonna pitch down. Landing light. Make sure it stays full, Rich. We're too low to really get any value from leaning it out. Visibility's getting a little bit worse over here. Oh, that's pretty out there. Look at that. And we're still going a little bit fast because we're descending here. The good news is, unlike Lily Lake, we have a ton of room. And so if we land a little short or a little long, all we gotta do is taxi over. So get down to about 85, we'll go second notch of flaps. I think you can set them below 90, but I don't remember for sure. There we go. That'll help us descend and continue to bleed off some speed. Because we are leaving some power in. Oh, it's raining over here. So we're down to 75. We can go ahead and lower full flaps. There we go. Alright, I am going to bleed our speed off. Up here just for a little bit of a demonstration. We're going to add some power and we're going to try to get this plane down to 40 knots. We're going to do it up here at about 700 feet. We're not trying to do any stalls. And as a general rule of thumb, you would want to do this at a higher altitude for safety so you would have enough time to recover. But right here, we're fine. So basically going to do there is add a ton of power. And just try to maintain the altitude we are right now. So you see how the wing is pitched up like that? That is how we want to be when we touch down on the water. Really slow like this. 45 to 50 knots. Not descending. Or descending very, very slightly. So we're going to lower the nose. We'll pick up a little speed, so we'll take some power back out. Not too much, because we don't want our descent rate to come up too fast. And we do need to turn a little bit. This is a good place to touch down. Look at the little, little outlet right there. Looks like the sim is stuttering just a little bit. Now we're getting a little bit faster than I would like, so what we're gonna do is take the power out. Just get nice and slow back down to that 45, 50 knots. But we have a decent descent rate, but we're gonna have to use power to control that here. If we hit the water right now, it'd be very uncomfortable. Borderline unsafe. We are a little bit slow. Let's put some power in, flare back. Touch down nice and gradual on the water. Minus 131. Not bad. Plus 3. Alright, let's go ahead, raise the, or lower the water rudders. Minus 2. Look at that. The water just looks like an emerald green. Probably all the trees and the rain and the sun. Combination of everything. Plus 3. It keeps telling us we're landing. Like, we're not going airborne. Come on. Plus 2. Yeah, that's kind of wonky. Minus 130 is not too bad for not being used to this. I think we did kind of start to lose some lift and started to drop a little bit onto the water right there at the end. The altimeter's a little bit high here because it's saying we're at 40 feet, but realistically we're at sea level. So I believe this needs to be 3002. Whatever sets us to 0 feet. Or 10 feet. I don't know. Maybe it says we're at 10 feet. 20 feet. Getting choppy again like that. This should be what is referred to as on the step, where we're kind of above the floats are out of the deep, or yeah, well, the floats are out of the water, basically gliding along the top. But I think we're too slow for that right now. This thing keeps saying a landing rate coming up like that. We aren't landing. I don't know if it's just counting like the... I don't know. I guess it doesn't work particularly well for seaplanes. Landing rate 0 feet per minute? How is that even possible? So we're just taxiing some different practice here. We put power in and hold the control stick back. We should get on the step. Up to about 20 knots or so. I'll take the power back. Still kind of bumpy. That may be a little bit too fast. Kind of just practicing a little bit of taxiing here. Alright, raise the flaps to 2. And that's a good step. Looks like 13, 14 knots like that is kind of a sweet spot. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, let's go airborne. Stick back, should lift off close to about 40 knots. See, we're kind of porpoising a little bit. And yeah, 37. Early. Alright. Flaps up. Now let's actually cut the power. What you do if your engine fails and you're just on climb out like that? Well, you're gonna pitch, and you're gonna lower, and you're probably gonna brace for a hard landing. But we're gliding. We're gliding. I'm not shutting the engine off completely, but we're at idle power. And that's a hard landing. Actually, it's not bad, 135. But that's what you'd have to prepare for if you had an engine failure on takeoff. Good thing about the water is there's plenty of water ahead unless you're landing like on a small lake. Alright, for real this time, let's go ahead and maybe we'll fly back to Kodiak. Alright, full power, back on the elevator, try to get on the step. Still kind of choppy though. We're airborne. And you get airborne immediately like that, we're just holding back pressure a little bit to stay airborne. We lower the nose just enough to where we don't descend, but where we can gain airspeed. We can bring the flaps up here. VY is 64, so that's our best rate of climb. That's going to get us the most altitude in the shortest amount of time. We can go flaps all the way up now. Fly 120, altitude 2500, FLC right at 70 knots. Let's engage the autopilot. We'll climb right back over to 2500. Fly back to. Well, we have some choices. So it doesn't show up on the map, but well, Lily Lake isn't showing up on here, but we know it's in the sim because you can spawn in on it. Lily Lake is right here, right next to Kodiak downtown. There's a place called Trident Basin, which is south of Lily Lake, but it looks like it kind of sits near downtown. In fact, we'll zoom on the chart. There's an inset that we can look at. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so Trident Basin actually sits in over here. We can land there, or the other option is to actually land on land. It sounds a little weird saying that, but we can since we're an amphibious plane. We can land back at Kodiak downtown, or we can land at Kodiak's main airport. If the weather deteriorates, that will probably be the best option. So these are more contingencies that you have to have when you're flying a plane like this in VFR in not particularly good conditions. And the weather does look like it's getting a little bit worse. So maybe what we'll do, see if we get an update. No, still no update. It should have missed almost the top of the hour, so maybe in a couple minutes we'll have one, but the weather deteriorating like it is makes me think we may end up going into Kodiak main airport. We're doing our best to maintain VFR, and that's gonna get tough. We're gonna divert. Or not divert, we're gonna deviate for weather. What that means is we're gonna leave our planned or assigned heading. If we're talking to ATC, we would ask them to deviate for weather. And if they tell you no, then you can fight with them, but you generally are going to stay on what is assigned. Only time you should deviate without their permission is if there is an emergency or you need to take action for safety purposes. Yeah, and we would not be able to see well through that going ahead. The rule is we just have to be able to see 3 miles ahead of us, which we can. But it is getting a little bit tougher as we head over that way. 122 over the ground. Can take a little bit of power out. Let's go 75%. Alright, let's climb. Gonna go above these clouds. We can see far enough to where we're still maintaining VFR. And the way that we get around that is we can still see the terrain ahead. Let's go ahead and turn the landing light off. We didn't even have to set climb power. The plane just climbed efficiently at our set cruise power. What is more clear over ahead? Look out that way. I mean, those clouds are almost reaching the mountaintops over there, but it is pretty. So here's Kodiak downtown, Kodiak main airport, Lily Lake, and I don't know why it doesn't show up on the map. Trident Basin is right here. I'll take a look and see what it says here. Pilots arriving or departing Trident Basin must contact Kodiak Tower for traffic advisories or special VFR clearance. When tower closed, pilots will self-announce on the CTAF. Kodiak weather camera available on internet at weathercams.faa.gov. This is actually a really cool feature. I think I showed one for flight around Eagle or something that I did. Reef exposed at both ends of the runway during low tides. 100 low lead fuel available with credit card. Well, good thing I don't need a virtual credit card to buy virtual fuel in my virtual plane. Oh, bad joke, okay. So we're up over here, we're gonna fly over this island. And what we can actually do is even turn our course back over the water. Out toward the town. And the good news is it is clearing up over this way. And so I can see these up here. Town's gonna be over here. Literally, like, Trident Basin looks like it's gonna be in here. And up here the wind is picking up. Let's go ahead and start a descent. I'm going to descend all the way down to 1500 first. Set the FLC and we'll go ahead and pull the power back to about 40%. Start a nice gradual descent. So, couple choices. We can do Lily Lake, Trident Basin, Kodiak Downtown, or Kodiak Main Airport. Based on the weather, it looks like it should be okay for us to go ahead and land on the water. At either airport of our choosing. I don't maybe think this time we'll do Trident Basin. So what I guess I can do is go ahead up here and update and we're descending right at a good 1,000 feet per minute. Definitely the weather's much better on this side of the island. Let's go ahead and turn our landing light on. Just a couple final items. Need to switch to the right tank for fuel. Mixture is in. Full rich. Gear is up. Water rudder is down. They need to be up. I forgot to raise them there. Top is cool. You should try touch and go landings with a couple friends. I did that once and was hella fun. I was actually doing a couple touch and goes in this plane at the beginning, but yeah, with I get some people to fly with it, absolutely, it would be a blast. Do that in the traffic pattern. Could kind of get hectic. Alright, so this is where we're going, and it, for whatever reason, doesn't show up on the map. Did I set to 1400? I thought I set 15. Oh well. 60% power in. So that's where we're going. I think we just turned through it. Let me double check that. I don't have a lot of time. Because we're already pretty close in. Yeah, it is that waterway. Okay. So here's what we'll do. Got the landing area in sight. Gonna go ahead and disengage the autopilot. First notch of flaps. We are landing in this area right here. That's where Trident Base. I don't understand why a bunch of these seaplane bases just don't show up in the sim. I mean, you look at the charts on SkyVector or AirNav or whatever, and they're there. It's just they're not there in the sim, and they're supposed to update the like the nav data and stuff like that every month when it's released. So I don't understand why it isn't. We are first notch of flaps, we can take some power out. And we'll continue descending a bit. Nope. We risked overspeeding the flap there. We got it back up in time, which is good. Take more power out as we're descending. Around 85 to 90, we can lower the second notch. There we go. The wind doing, we have a crosswind about 5 knots. Alright, full flaps. Add a little bit of power to control our descent rate. Is that a Piper Cub and is it a DLC? This is the CubCrafters XCub, and I don't remember if it comes with the plane version of the sim, but it's not like a DLC that you have to purchase or anything. It might be with the deluxe, but I like it a lot. It's a fun plane. The CubCrafters, they basically took a Super Cub and made a bunch of different designs. Add a little power here. Easy down. "65 feet per minute, not bad. Just a bit bouncy here. We're on the step. On. There we go. Keep the water rudders down. That'll help slow us down and get some drag. And I think that's the dock that you would go to for the... Now look at that low resolution Google imagery. Or not Google, Bing. I guess. So this is Microsoft Flight Simulator after all. But yeah, Tob, it's, The CubCrafters, the XCub, they have like the Carbon Cub, stuff like that are all based around the the Super Cub. And they're just more modern, of course, with up-to-date avionics electrical systems. You can get them with constant speed or fixed pitch props. Pretty view down here, though. I don't know if it's quite as pretty as our arrival into Seldovia last night. But you notice how the floats right now are kind of sitting deep in the water. When you're on the step, they come up out of the water and you're basically... think of like a motorboat. No. You can sit down in the water and float, or once you get moving, you kind of get raised up a little bit. That's kind of like being on the step in the Seaplane. For example, put some power in and accelerate a bit. See the floats coming up out of the water? Right like that, but it starts getting kind of choppy. So you put more speed in. Take the power back out, and eventually the plane's going to sink back into the or not the plane, but the floats are going to drop back into the water. Watch it settle in a moment. Right like that. Alright, let's do one more water takeoff and then we'll land back at Kodiak downtown. And, we'll go onto the ramp and park the plane. Let it dry out. Should be a very short flight. So what we'll do is pull the flaps back up to 2. Leave all the lights and electrical systems in, or on. Full power. Back on the stick. Plane should come airborne at 35 to 40 knots. Or 34. Alright, and we are just kind of gliding above the water there. Flaps up to 1. Flaps all the way up. Climb up right about 1,000 feet. Look at the bridge there. For some reason that doesn't really sound all that familiar, but okay, whatever. And actually, we're probably... yeah, tell you what. There's the airport right there. Climb all the way to 1,000 feet, we'll be over top of the airport. So what we can do is actually break off and do a tight 180, and then just fly traffic pattern back to the airport. So what we'll do is actually come over this way, fly over the end of the runway, and we'll do like a little bit of an S-turn. Get lined up on runway heading here. There's the airport elevation plus 1,000, so we'll go ahead and level off, plus 1,000. Yeah, plus 1,000 feet. So we can actually put the power back in. Let the nose come down a little bit here. Take some power out. Going faster than I want to be. take a little more power out. We're a little bit high. Let's see, do we have updated weather at Kodiak? We certainly should by now. 2253, yeah, broken at 8500, 3004, 16 Celsius. It's warmed up 040 at 6, and that is pretty similar to what we're getting here. Okay. So, if you turn there, you can see that's the end of the runway. So we're going to go ahead and take the power out. Get down below 100 knots. Lower the first notch flaps. We'll go ahead and start on our way down. And we're going to fly right over the Seaplane Lake. Lily Lake it is. And we'll touch down. It should be runway, I believe it's runway 2. At Kodiak downtown. Alright, still a little bit on the fast side here. Nope, now we're good. We can go second notch of flaps, put some power in, and let's go ahead and begin our turn. Terrain rises here, so you have to make that base turn quick. You can't really extend it. A little steep there on the bank. Generally don't want to bank over 30 degrees, but we blew through. Also, that's the way the wind is pushing us. Alright, gonna have to take the power back out. Let's get lined up with the runway. Good news is we are pretty well set on our approach path. Let's go full flaps, add some power in. Let's get a nice stable approach down to the runway. Let's get nice and slow. We still want to have that maybe 50 to 55 knots on our approach speed. We're going to fly right over the water. Gears should be down. I forgot to do that before. We'd probably go around at that point. This may be a little bit hard. And we're still flying down to the ground at 34 knots. And I landed on the side of the runway there, instead of in the center of it, but hey. I didn't even see it touch down. I didn't even feel it touch down, I should say. So I didn't see the speed when it came up. Let's go ahead and pull the flaps all the way up. Turn nice and gentle here. This plane can't make real sharp turns. Put a little bit of power in. We'll turn our landing light off. Turn back here on this come back in over to the ramp here. Let's get on the brakes. Have a nice controllable speed. Let's go ahead and a little bit of way to turn easily, more sharply in this plane. Just adding a little bit of power and hitting the brakes. Now when you straighten out, you might accelerate, so you have to be quick to take the power back out. Alright, there we are. We didn't put the water rudders up. Oh well. Parking brake set, not a big deal. I mean, when the water rudders are out, they're not like sticking down. It's just they're extended, and the plane tends to sit kind of nose high, so this portion would be in the water, so the rudders would actually dip into the water. It's not like they're dragging around the ground on land. The wheels come down low enough, of course, to keep the floats above the ground, so you don't damage them. Alright, let's go ahead and do a shutdown. So what that's going to be, prop goes full forward, mixture stays full forward. Let's turn the nav lights off. Avionics master. Turn the alternator off. Gears up, autopilot's disconnected. Idle cut off. Right, the engine is stopped. Magneto's off. Strobe lights off. And last but not least, battery switch. Alright, well there we are at right about 57 minutes of flying now. When the engine was on longer than that, so I guess the time that we're not airborne, it doesn't count as the flight. So anytime we're taxiing or taxiing on the water. But pretty good, 57 minutes. We did 3 landings. No, we did more than that. Let's see, we did 2 or 3 there at Lily Lake. We did the one at Raspberry Island, then we came back, did the one at Trident Seaplane Base, or Basin, and then the one here. So we really did 6. So I'm not sure why it's crediting us with only 3. And if you did 6 landings, you did 6 takeoffs. So whatever. Alright folks, well welcome to Kodiak, Alaska. Thanks for flying with me. Hope you enjoyed all the places we went. Hope you enjoyed the seaplane action. Hope to catch you on the next one. And until then, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya.